Now we will discuss surface representations. Surface representations are the representations in which we remember the exact words that we encounter. Researchers have tried to examine how readers' characteristics and text content influence readers' memory or memory that is involved for comprehension. Kinch study or Kinch proposals with regard to the understanding of different representations have been generated from the model which he proposed as the tripartite model, which has three distinctive levels. Now, according to this model, the reader has the capability to look at the surface representations where the words are remembered as they come or as they appear. According to this model, the reader constructs multi-leveled memory with information being encoded at each level. Surface representations of discourse are very short-lived and presented individuals with a long oral passage that was interrupted in or during the interval that are there. The intervals are presented or intervals are there which are known as irregular intervals. We will now look at some of the examples that have been given by researchers in their areas of experimentations and studies that they have done. Now, in order to understand these examples, we have to look at the study conducted by Jarvilla, 1971. Based on that study, the suggestion was that surface representations of discourse are very short-lived, presented in individuals with long oral passage, and that was interrupted at irregular intervals. Now, individuals were asked at each interruption to write down in verbatim form as much as possible, and the forms, which verbatim forms are the exact form that are there as much of the preceding discourse as they could. Now, looking at this, the confidence of Kofash was not unfounded to stag the meeting for McDonald's. The union had even brought it outsiders. Then, two versions of the passages were created. The other was Kofash had been persuaded by the International to stag the meeting for McDonald's. The union had even brought in outsiders. Although the final clause, this is the final clause. Now, although the final clause in 17 and 18 were identical, the material immediately preceding either came from the same sentence, which is 17, or the earlier sentence, that is 18. Now, it was found that the percentage of correct recall of the next to last clause was far better when it was part of the current sentence than when it was a part of the earlier sentence. Now, those are the similar results that were also proposed by Sash, 1967. These results show that there is an exception to this rule, however, which is that the subsequent results indicate that we sometimes remember the exact wording over a long time period, and that has been proposed by Bates et al. In 1978. According to them, that we sometimes remember exact wording over a long period of time. For example, in a study of recall of lecture material found that their students often remembered the exact wording of some of the comments, such as announcement or any such expression. So that shows that we can remember the exact wording of some material when it is distinctive and easily separable from the rest of the discourse. If one can separate and have it as an individual element of a discourse, it can still be easily remembered. We store discourse in three ways. Each appears to be influenced by different variables and subject to different decay later on. Surface representations are short-lived except when the wording is pragmatically significant.